Hey everybody, welcome to day 8 of the 31 days of horror. Horror. Yeah, you gotta dig it, baby. Yeah. So, day 8. Let's give you a little backstory here. I've told this story many times, and for the ones that are just checking things out now, you get to hear it for the first time. But, growing up in the 70s and the 80s, there was a lot of things going on. But one of the big things was my mom was a huge horror fan, and we used to go to the drive-in all the time. So in the 70s, when The Omen came out, it was myself, my mom, my brother. We all went to the drive-in and saw it, and my older brother got freaked out by The Omen. He just wasn't a big fan of horror. He was a sci-fi action type person, He liked his kung fu movies, stuff like that. But my mom and I, we were the horror freaks in the family, and it shows. We're still both the horror freaks in the family, and it shows. So I saw The Omen when it came out in the drive-in. I was like 7, 8 years old, somewhere around there. It didn't bother me. My older brother, it bothered him. I thought, well, that's kind of cool because you look up to your older brother or your older sister, and you think nothing can hurt them, and this messes with their heads, and you're just kind of going, cool. They're not invulnerable. Years go by, and they put out a second movie, The Omen 2. See it in the theaters. And then comes The Omen 3. And I see that in the theaters too. And that brings us to today's movie. Today's movie is the story of adult Damien. Omen 3, The Final Conflict. This is Sam Neill as Damien from the very first movie. Damien was played by Harvey Stevens, did a great job. That kid was creepy as hell. In the second movie took place, Damien as a teenager, and now Damien is 32 years old. He's the head of Thorne Industries, and he just becomes appointed the ambassador to England by the President of the United States. And along the way, we find out that him being the Antichrist, the second coming of Jesus is inevitable since he's now in power. And they need to kill off all the babies that were born on a certain date. I don't want, that's really a lot of what this movie's about. There's also some priests, I almost said monks, but they're priests, out there with the 7 daggers from the first movie, trying to thwart or take out Damien out of power. This is actually a really, really good follow-up. It's very creepy as hell. Seems a lot more dramatic than horror, but it's very creepy. Sam Neill does an awesome job in this movie, and I remember picking this up. I got this with a Omen box set. Notice it's on DVD. I got this in an Omen box set years ago, like when the remake came out with Julia Stiles and Liev Schreiber. There was a box set with parts 1 through 4. Yep, there's a part 4, but it's a made-for-TV part 4. And the Omen remake. And I was like, wow, I think it was like $25 or something like that. And like basically each movie came to like $5 a piece, including the remake, which was pretty much new at the time. So I'm like, that's a deal. That's something I can get behind, grabbed it. And I know that they've put out a new box set on Blu-ray, but it doesn't have the 4th part. It doesn't have the made-for-TV movie. It's 1, 2, and 3, and then the remake. So, I mean, I could upgrade, but I'm kind of denying myself one of the movies, so I just keep the DVDs for now. Executive produced by Richard Donner, starring Sam Neill. Who else is in this? I mean, there's not really a whole lot of big names in this movie. In fact, Sam Neill wasn't even a big name at the time. Jerry Goldsmith directed it. It's a very cool, very, very nice, atmospheric, type of movie. It's got the creep factor, like I said, going for it. Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to talk about with this movie. I love this movie. It's a very cool movie. Next year, just so you know, I don't do all the sequels like one right after another every year. You know, it's like if there's like Friday the 13th parts 1 through 8, I won't take up 8 days of doing Friday the 13th films. I'll do Friday the 13th film, and then next year I'll probably do like part 2, and then that way I get like 8 years out of this, you know. This is part 3. I watched part 2 last year, and next year will probably be, will be, you know, the 4th movie. So that's all I got to say about that. What do you guys think? Do you guys like The Omen 3? Have you seen it? Do you have one of the box sets I'm talking about? Any of those questions, you know, or do you have something you want to comment on? Have you seen this movie? Do you like this movie? What are your thoughts on it? With all of that, always like, subscribe, share, and comment. I always want to know what you have to say. When you do subscribe, bing and ring that bell. That way you'll be notified anytime I put something new up. As always, check out the people at the end of the video, because they're the ones also doing 31 Days of Halloween or Horror or 31 Days Half October. And I am the 13th Wolfman, and of course, like always, I'm on the prowl.